Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland AM. It is Monday the 15th of May. We're here to kickstart your new week.
Kickstart, just go with it.
Great to have you with us.
We have got sporting standouts from the weekend, a brand new therapy trend and a country crooner with an unlikely friend. Let's get into it, Tommy.
Yes, there is an awful lot to unpack from a busy weekend in sport. From the Ulster and Leinster football finals to the Women's FA Cup final, world record attendance at that, and the Premier League title, of course, race. It's all going on at the minute. We are going to be reviewing that very shortly.
We'll also be learning how to become our very own therapist with Dr. Colman Noctor as he shares his tips and tricks to help us, wait for this, live our best lives, everybody.
Do you know what? It's actually just living a normal life. It's not about the best or the worst. That's his whole mantra. We're going to find out later on. Okay. Plus, she was born with country music in her veins. Claudia Buckley tells us about being voted Female Vocalist of the Year. And Bill Murray, no less, is a massive fan.
I always still remember you trying to get an interview with Bill Murray down at Adair Manor, wasn't it? You did get it. You were like, Bill.
Yeah, he's also a big fan of me.
I was just about to say. Big fan of Tommy Bow. And over in the kitchen this morning, it's Katya. Good morning, Katya.
Well, good morning, guys. Well, in the kitchen, we have a sweet but salty veggie dish. On the catwalk, it's all about occasion wear for the summer months. Plus, we bring you the hottest gadgets to pack for your next holiday. It's hard not to think about a holiday.
Holidays, love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's see where Deric is anyway. He's over supporting a very worthy cause. Good morning, Deric.
Yes, good morning, Katya. We're live here inside the grounds of Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services here in Carl's Cross this morning. A beautiful start, as you can see over my shoulder. Plenty of sunshine out there today, with a couple of isolated showers trailing around for the 15th of the month. Anyway, Inside the Hospice, it's a brand new 3-part documentary series airing tonight, tomorrow and Wednesday night at 9, right here on Virgin Media 1. And here this morning, the Rose Garden, we're going to be meeting some of the stars, I suppose, of the show. So we're going to be talking to a local volunteer. Also, we're going to be meeting the gardener who's been working here for about 30 years, as well as trying to raise a couple of bob for Together for Hospice as well. So that's all to come here from Our Lady's Hospice, guys, right across the board. But for now, back to base.
Thank you so much, Deric. It looks beautiful there, and we all know how much hospices do for so many people around the country. And the little bits that we've seen about Inside the Hospice, my lord, it gets you in a corner. They are unbelievable
angels,
people.
the people who work in that place.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see what Deric's doing throughout the morning. But right now, it's time to go over to the Virgin Media News Hub for the very first time today and say good morning to Cleona Russell.
Morning. Thanks, Muireann. Turkey's election appears to be heading for a runoff, as it looks likely the two main candidates will fail to clear the 50% threshold needed to avoid a second round. Turkey's High Election Board gave Erdogan 49.49%, with 91.93% of ballot boxes counted. The result will either grant Erdogan a new 5-year term in office or set the country on what his opposition contender calls a more democratic path. Erdogan said he could still win, but would respect the nation's decision if the race went to a runoff on the 28th of May.
If our nation's made its choice in favour of the second round of the election, then that is also welcome. We believe that we will finish this round with over 50% of the votes.
There's been a drop in the rate of increases in rent prices in the first quarter of this year, according to the latest report from property website daft.ie. Rents are still rising, though, and are up by 1% compared with the final 3 months of last year.
According to the latest report by the daft.ie property website, market rents in the first quarter of this year are still increasing, up an average of 1% on the previous quarter. It's a slowdown in inflation, as it's the smallest quarterly increase since 2020. The authors of the report say the upward trend in rents is being driven by the extraordinary shortage of availability of rental accommodation. There are regional differences noted in the increases. Rents rose by 0.5% in Dublin and Leinster and fell in the 4 other cities, with the highest rental increases seen outside the cities in Munster, Connacht and Ulster. The report looked at open market rents as well as rents paid by sitting tenants. Year on year, market rents are 11.7% higher. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
France will deliver dozens of armoured vehicles and more light battle tanks to Ukraine in the coming weeks. That's according to a joint statement by French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. It was issued following a working dinner by both leaders on Sunday that lasted over 3 hours. Macron and Zelensky also called for further sanctions to weaken Russia's ability to continue its illegal war of aggression. A fragile ceasefire remains in place between Israel and Gaza militants this morning. It followed 5 days of intense fighting in the region, which saw 33 Palestinians killed and 2 people killed in Israel. The ceasefire, brokered by Egypt, came into effect late on Saturday night, but the agreement does not address the underlying issues in the region. And finally, Irish talent shone bright at the BAFTAs TV Awards in London last night, with Derry Girls and Bad Sisters taking home awards. Siobhan McSweeney won Best Female Performance in a Comedy Programme for Derry Girls, and Sharon Horgan won the TV Award for Best Drama Series for Bad Sisters, with Anne-Marie Duff winning the Supporting Actress Award for the series.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Jaron. A very good morning. We're live here inside the grounds of Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services this morning. Inside the hospice, it's a groundbreaking new documentary over the next 3 nights here on Virgin Media 1, kicking off tonight at 9. In fact, we're going to be meeting some of the participants of the show a little bit later on this morning. So that's all to come in the next wee while. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Avril Valera with us on cameras this 15th of the month. And a glorious start out to this morning. In fact, some really nice sunshine to kickstart your breakfast, although we are seeing showers right through the Shannon Estuary at the moment, parts of West Galway into Galway City and parts of Fermanagh not escaping either now, and those light to locally moderate northwesterly winds. Now, right across this afternoon, not a bad one out there today. We will see a little bit of cloud cover build for a time. That'll dissipate, and then we're going to see a return to some really nice sunshine to finish out the day. Top temps, a little bit of a nip in the air out there now, the 15th of the month, in and around 12 to 15 degrees. And finally then into this evening, we will see a good deal of dry, clear spells to start. Once again, some cloud cover will build, bringing with it some isolated showers scraping around, but another settled one then as we work our way tonight into tomorrow morning. In fact, a cold, a chilly one in store tonight, with values back to about 2 to 6 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here as the sun shines down here in House Cross at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. Its headline: Government to place 500 asylum seekers in new centres. Senior political sources said there was a heightened awareness in government of the need to ensure the safety of asylum seekers following an anti-immigration demonstration in Dublin on Friday.
6 Irish dead in 2 years as medical tourism visits soar. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Last year, 4 Irish people died abroad after travelling for medical or cosmetic procedures. New figures show while in 2021, 2 people lost their lives.
The Examiner's front page: children who seem poor and more likely to abuse. A study by the Children's Commissioner for England revealed that sexual violence commonly seen in pornography was found in half of police interview transcripts of child-on-child sex abuse cases.
The Star leads with Trouble Hutch. A Star investigation has established that the Hutch organised crime gang is active in Ireland, Spain and Britain and is in the frame for at least 9 murders. The mob is said to have assets of up to €20 million amassed through robberies, drug scams and property deals. The Sun's front page: Larry, I did her all right. Convicted rapist Larry Murphy allegedly told another inmate he murdered missing teenager Deirdre Jacob 25 years ago. Murphy is said to have made the boast during drugs and booze sessions in Dublin's Arbour Hill prison. Fears over hay fever medicine shortage is the top story on the Daily Mail. A national shortage of hay fever drugs could leave thousands suffering as 30% of Irish people who suffer from the seasonal condition prepare to stock up on the over-the-counter treatments, such as eye drops, nasal sprays and antihistamines. The Herald's front page: a bright IKEA.
IKEA shoppers will be able to pick up their orders from 3 Tesco stores in Ireland from this week. The Swedish retail giant also plans to roll out the new Collect Near You trial service to 6 other Tesco locations around the country later in the summer.
And the Mirror goes with its happy hour. Rural pubs which face tough times during lockdowns are doing more business now than before the pandemic. Research from the Vintners Federation of Ireland shows 3/4 of bars outside of Dublin turned a profit last year.
Back. Now, there has been a lot of discussion both online and in the media recently around domestic abuse.
If you are a loved one or experiencing or have experienced domestic abuse, it is important to know that there is help out there. And to tell us more is Sarah Benson from Women's Aid. Sarah, good morning. Thank you so much for coming in to speak to us. I think, first of all, we should just establish what is domestic abuse, that there are actually different levels to it.
Yeah, I think often when people think about domestic abuse or domestic violence, they think about physical abuse, physical violence, whereas actually domestic abuse is a pattern of behaviour, and where there is physical abuse, there is always additionally some form of emotional, coercive, controlling behaviour. But what's important to say is that often you can have extremely serious levels of abusive behaviour in a relationship which doesn't necessarily have physical abuse, because the kinds of behaviours we're talking about are ones that are designed to wear down somebody's self-esteem, to isolate them from their family and friends, to get them second-guessing themselves, to maybe take control over money, which is something that's often overlooked, which is economic abuse. So it's really about one person in a relationship, usually an intimate relationship, although it can happen in family situations as well, but usually an intimate relationship, who is exercising controlling behaviour and coercive behaviour to get control over the other person. So it's an imbalance of power.
And that, because I think it was made a criminal offence recently, and this is coercive control, and we had the first conviction under it in Ireland last year. So because domestic abuse, I think people can understand what that is, but with coercive control, it can kind of be, is that coercive? So it's someone coercing someone, like.
Yeah, it's really interesting because coercive control is a criminal offence. It has been since January of 2019 in this country. And a lot of countries don't have it, but most of the United Kingdom and Ireland have it. And what it is actually the beating heart of a domestic violence relationship. Those of us who've worked in this area for many, many years, when we read the definition of coercive control, we actually say, well, that is an abusive relationship, because it is all those little things which sometimes on their own, kinds of behaviours, like I mentioned, that kind of coercive, degrading, gaslighting, all of these things on their own might not be an offence, but when you put them together, you see this pattern of behaviour that has such a devastating impact on the person who's being subjected to it. The fact that it's a criminal offence now is really important, but I would say there is also, protections through the Domestic Violence Act, and also there are many things that are perpetrated in the context of a domestic abuse relationship, which are also criminal offences, which could be, assault causing harm, threats to kill, physical violence as well. So that's not the only thing that can be a criminal offence in this situation.
So if somebody is watching this morning or knows of somebody who might be in a relationship like this, what would be the first step you would encourage them to take?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that anyone can be subjected to domestic abuse. It is predominantly something that is a gendered issue, so we do have very disproportionately women who will suffer, but anyone can suffer. That also means anyone in our community can be a perpetrator. It does not discriminate in terms of class, socioeconomic, race, ethnicity, faith. It is the most democratic of crimes. And I say that because it's really important that sometimes people have a picture in their head of what a domestic violence victim might be, but actually what it is it's something that can happen very slowly over time. It's where it can be very manipulative. We have women calling our national free phone helpline, which I know you're going to put the number up, and just to say we also are the throughput, and we can refer to our colleagues in the male advice line and all of the local services around the country. But when somebody picks up the phone and they say, I don't really know why I'm phoning, there's just something doesn't feel right, you know, I sometimes describe it like that thing of, you know, the frog in water that's slowly getting hotter and hotter. It's something becomes so normalised. Somebody turns around and says, I don't know how I got here. Suddenly I feel like I've no control over my life. Every waking thought is mediated through what is my partner going to say or do. If I do that, I don't go out anymore. I don't dress the way I used to anymore. I feel like I have no control over my life, and I feel like I can't get out.
There's that isolation, which is the central tenet of this an awful lot of the time. If you're someone who's watching this today and they're listening to you, and you know there's something wrong in a relationship, it's hard because you can't go to the guards and go, I know that this person's being isolated. There's something going on behind closed doors. Like it can feel like a very powerless position.
Yeah, I mean, different to other things which can be, you know, crimes like a burglary or something like that, is that there's really important factors to keep in mind. This is somebody who's known. They're part of your social network. They're part of your community. You may share a mortgage together. You may share children together. It's very, very complicated. It's also a kind of abusive behaviour where somebody can move the goalposts. On the one hand, they may be, you know, very cruel, very hurtful. On the other hand, then they'll flip to, apologising and love bombing somebody. So there's a huge amount of emotional manipulation in there. It can make it extremely hard to disclose or even just say the words that something is happening. So that's why if we're worried about somebody, our first protocol isn't the guards. Our first protocol is to try and, discreetly open up a conversation with them, just saying, you don't seem yourself. Is everything okay? We know that, it's actually easier for somebody to have somebody who maybe is a trusted friend or a family member ask them the question, not in a judgmental way, just, are you okay? It's easier to respond if somebody asks you than to have to just put it out there not knowing how it'll be responded to. I always remember Roddy Doyle's book, The Woman Who Walked Into Doors. There's a whole scene in that where she's in a hospital and all she is saying is, ask me, ask me, ask me, and everybody swirls around her and nobody asks her, is this what's happening? What's going on? Yeah. And you have to do it with safety, but we as a community have to be vigilant to watching out for those who might be vulnerable.
If somebody is in a situation like this as well, is it important to document if things are going on, that if you do have to go to the guards or whatever in time, it's good to have a record or an idea of what has gone on for if things are going to proceed?
Yeah, it is particularly important in something like domestic abuse, coercive control, because we're not talking about like a burglary. The evidence may be there. It has to be done very safely, but the value in doing that, and again, it's something that we and our colleagues in the other domestic violence services would talk with those who are being subjected to abuse about, is it's about giving visibility to that pattern. Sometimes things have become so normal that you can support somebody by taking a step back and saying, well, what is your normal day like? What happens in a day? What happens in a week? And then you start to see all these little things as well. Oh no, I couldn't go there because I'm not allowed to see my mother except on Tuesdays, and you have to see, and it gives you the pattern. So we would encourage someone to document what's going on. Now, safety is really important, and we would also, if somebody is very controlling, what we are seeing very increasingly is, somebody may have access to your phone passwords, they may be monitoring texts, so to do so has to be done safely, and sometimes that can be relying on maybe a friend or a family member who's going to take that information and hold it, and when you're ready to be able to go, and if you're ready, if that's something you're going to do, is to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening and this is how I can show you, this is what's going on.
And often, if there's children involved, they're weaponised against the person who is the victim, which is so horrific. We know that Women's Aid are involved. As you said, you're a facilitator as well. If there are men who are in this situation and that you pass people on with that, but you've got for over 200 languages, people can call in and have everything at womensaid.ie, and the services are there, Sarah.
That's right. We have the national helpline, which is 1800 341 900, and then instant message through womensaid.ie and 2into.ie, and languages up to 200 if somebody prefers speaking in another language than English.
Absolutely amazing. Sarah Benson, CEO of Women's Aid, thank you so much
Sarah.
for coming in to speak to us this morning. Now, we have still lots more to come here on Ireland End. We'll take a quick break. We'll see you back here very shortly.
Welcome back. Now, Turkey's election appears to be heading for a runoff, as it looks likely that the two main candidates will fail to clear the 50% threshold needed to avoid a second round.
Joining us now with that story and everything else this morning is Euronews Europe correspondent Shona Murray. Good morning.
It is lovely to have you, Shona, and this election is widely seen as the most important election in the world this year.
Yeah, I mean, because Erdogan has been taking Turkey on an authoritarian bent, destroying sort of civic society, moving back against people who want to engage in free speech, jailing opposition leaders, jailing human rights activists, jailing journalists, being close to Putin. So this was sort of a hope that maybe Turkey could move towards the West again, move towards its European allies, particularly because actually it's not like he has done anything for the average person in Turkey. Inflation's 44%. The reaction from the earthquake was terrible. Yeah. So there was hope that maybe Turkey could move into a new arena. But it looks like, even though there will be a runoff on May 28th, the momentum is with him. He's probably got about 20 seats majority in Parliament.
So even though he's lost 28 seats, he's at 49.49%. His challenger, 44.79%. 5% went to an ultranationalist party, which seems to have been. There has been 4 years, he's 20 years in power, there has been 4 years allegations around elections, whether they're free and fair, because it is a democratic country. Erdogan isn't going to lose.
Well, probably not. I mean, but remember, our free speech absolutist Elon Musk at the weekend admitted that when the Turkish government asked him to censor tweets from the opposition, he agreed to do that. Now, this is Elon Musk who said, "Oh, I'm going to allow racists and Donald Trump and the Proud Boys and everyone and Russian Kremlin propagandists back onto Twitter because I am a free speech absolutist." But when it comes to authoritarians like Erdogan, he agrees to censor from the opposition. This is, I think, a very huge thing because it's really the nature of people who go on about being free speech absolutists. Yeah. They just want to say things that are actually racist and othering and aggressive.
They want to be extreme.
Elon Musk is one of them. And so that's why we need to be always wary of it. And he's actually admitted it. And anyway, whether or not that impacted the election or not, we don't know, because you could imagine people in Turkey would like to fight for a new dawn, particularly when they saw so many people dying in the earthquake and Erdogan doing very little.
And we're talking about inflation in this country, 44%. It touched 80% last year in Turkey. When is that runoff going to happen?
28th of May. But remember, Turkey was once considered an option for joining the European Union.
Absolutely.
That was very, very, very remote sort of possibility because they were never going to... Well, they were trying initially to meet the standards when it came to human rights and so on. But they've gone so far removed from that that, it's almost like an Islamist country. Remember that Turkey was also one of the most secular places in Europe where women, even if they wanted to wear the headscarf because it's Muslim majority, weren't allowed to do so in the public sector environment. Now they're encouraged to do so. Yeah. Obviously, that should be down to choice, but being encouraged to become more conservative and more religious is the sign of a controlled country.
And they backed out of the Istanbul Convention, which of course had to do with domestic violence, which is what we were just...
in Istanbul.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll be looking at that 28th of May is when that's going to be. There is another story that kind of connects to Turkey, and this is medical tourism. 6 people die following surgery abroad.
And that's in the last 2 years.
Yeah. And remember, it's 6 people have died in Ireland in the past 2 years of botched medical surgery, cosmetic medical surgery. So often it's to do with gastric bands and so on. But also it's much worse than that because there are so many people who have had to get corrective surgery who thankfully haven't died, but the College of Surgeons, Ireland, say that they're engaging in a lot of corrective surgery. So people are going to cosmetic surgeons in Turkey that maybe they haven't fully researched yet. And also some of the commentary about it is that people are getting operated on at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. It's like what they describe as a conveyor belt. Yeah. And so that there may not be checks and balances because you may have too many people at once, so they're not giving attention to people. And also the point is when you have major surgery like that, if you're getting on a plane straight away, it's quite dangerous. But it is interesting because a lot of the flights, because Turkish Airlines do frequent flights to Ireland. We're actually very well connected to Istanbul. Flights at least one a day, sometimes twice a day. I used to, get that going to the Middle East a lot. And but on the way back, you would see a lot of men with the sort of headbands and people with bright teeth and so on. So it definitely is a thing. I mean, everybody knows somebody who's got
it's a very big,
at least done.
It's a very big thing.
Shona, we have to ask you about the BAFTAs because Ireland did win big yesterday.
That's right. Sharon Horgan, Lisa McGee, Siobhan McSweeney, they all did really well for Dairy Girls, for Bad Sisters.
But to take home Best TV Drama, it's amazing. And I only finished watching Bad Sisters last week and I'm like, you know what? Deserved.
Oh, no, well deserved. Both of those are well deserved. Excellent. So it's great to see it,
Anytime I hear anyone say Mammy now. I just feel a shiver down. If you haven't seen Bad Sisters,
Oh, God.
it's the creepiest word
it's so
in.
creepy.
Isn't
It's
it so
brilliant,
when he
yeah.
says
Mammy.
Mammy?
Yeah, I know.
Mammy.
And Shona Murray was very good, and she was talking about
She was
how her mother
amazing.
had told her to get a job as a teacher and just forget about the acting. And she said, now I've won a BAFTA for playing a teacher. So the last laugh is on you, Mammy.
There you go, ma'am.
It was fantastic. Huge congratulations. And also Siobhan McSweeney bringing up Derry people who welcomed her
Yes,
into their
exactly,
hearts.
yeah.
And very quickly, this story. IKEA shoppers can now collect orders from 3 Tesco outlets
Now word
around.
from our sponsors.
But this is because Tesco, the amount of people I know, can you go to Tesco, or not Tesco, what's it called? IKEA. Can you go to IKEA for me? Yeah, IKEA for me. They're going to, you can click and collect in Tesco's now.
Yeah, it's handy, I suppose. Yeah,
Because there's only one. And
well, the article talks about how people end up having huge rows with their partners, their friends in IKEA because
it's
it's
a
so
death
stressful.
trap for relationships.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
And when you find out that they've gone to IKEA without you, trouble. Trouble. It's happened on many
gone to
occasions.
IKEA without you?
My own fella. Yeah, if you're
Would
watching.
you want to go to IKEA? Would
Yeah,
you not
yeah,
want
I
him
would
to go without
I love
you?
it. It's like a playground for me. I love it.
But do you fight out there?
Absolutely.
What do you fight about?
But then you go and eat the Swedish meatballs and then you make
Yeah.
up and it's grand, you know. But I'm sure many other couples are in the same position. Sure, text us 0896 111 111 if you have experienced the death trap that is IKEA for relationships.
We'd love to hear from you. What is it the thing that makes you argue with your other half? It's a lovely thing. Nothing makes you argue with your other half. You're always perfectly happy.
not at all. No.
No, look at the big smile on her face. It's just politics. That's what does it. Shona Murray from Euronews, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Lots more to come this morning, including psychotherapist Colman Noctor. He's going to be sharing the tools we need to become our own therapist.
While country music star Claudia Buckley talks touring in the States. Come back to us.
Welcome back. Of course, we've got a busy 2 hours still to come. Let's take a look, Tommy.
Coming up very shortly, psychotherapist Dr. Colman Noctor shares his top mental health hacks that hope to make your life a little bit easier.
And it makes sense. That's what I think. It's like, okay, I can do that.
So it's the 4 to 7 zone.
Yes.
What is that?
We'll ask him about that.
We'll find out.
I read, I was like, I can do that.
Makes sense.
Also coming up a little bit later on, country music star Claudia Buckley talks taking on the US and her love for the queen that is Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Working 9 to 5. Was that the 4 to 7?
We've been all
4 to
Queen
7 zone.
Beyonce here in the studio.
Oh,
today
we
with
have been, yeah,
who's,
Katya's heading.
Going to see her, but anyway, it's Dolly Parton later on. Plus, you have the passport. What about the perfect portable charger? Our gadget guru, Colin Baker, helps us to get organised for the holidays.
There we go. Katya, bar heading off to Beyonce in about 5 minutes. You'll stick around in the kitchen.
I need to stop going on about her, don't I? Yes, I'm in the kitchen out this morning. I'm with my friend Paul Knapp, and we're on kitchen duty. What have we got?
This morning we are making a roasted cauliflower with a chimichurri sauce. So the chimichurri is kind of like parsley, chili, kind of shallots, and it's kind of like a little spicy. So yeah, a little spicy little treat in the kitchen this morning.
It's going to taste good. That's all that matters.
It's always going to taste good. Absolutely, it's me. What do you expect?
Looking forward to that. But for now, Deric is at Our Lady's Hospice over in Dublin. Good morning, Deric. How are you getting on?
Yes, Katya, sounds delicious in the kitchen, by the way. We're having a gorgeous morning here down at Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services here in Harold's Cross. And can we swing the camera this way? A big hello to everyone in St. Clair's. Oh, they're busy bees here in the garden. Ashley, a big fundraiser, Sunflower for Days, kicking off as well.
Yes, thanks, Deric. We launched our national campaign last week, Hospice Sunflower Days. It's our 33rd year of the campaign, where we bring all the hospices in Ireland to fundraise together, and we fundraise directly for hospice frontline services in Ireland.
And palliative care as well. So we're going to be catching up with some of the volunteers here on the ground that make it all happen in and around 8:45 this morning. But for now, guys, back to the studio.
There we go. So, Kathy, let's go to that story in the Daily Mail. No, it's the Herald about the bright IKEA. So, IKEA, like, that makes a bit
They're
of sense,
going to be able to collect
doesn't
their orders in Mitchelstown, County Cork, Drogheda in County Louth, and Naas in County Kildare. So you won't
So
have
just go to
Dublin.
Tesco's and pick up your, do you order it online, obviously?
Yeah.
And there is no charge if the order is over €200, or it's €15 if the amount is less. But they did trial it in the UK and it was a hit. And they're going to bring it in this summer, and we'll see if it's going to stick.
Are you devastated? Because you love going to IKEA.
IKEA, you've gotten a great
I
old
will
lad
still
there.
be going to IKEA. I will not be participating in Click and Collect because I actually do enjoy.
We were talking about.
Enjoy the ups and downs.
It's so stressful, though.
We're talking about the IKEA. This is according to the Science of Us. It's a relationship death trap.
Yeah.
is what it's called.
Well, John
so
has
people are
said,
in contact.
I always end up arguing with my partner in IKEA. Disagreements of what to buy, but mostly over where things are. It's so easy to get lost in there.
I agree with you, John. Fionn says, I like to get in and get out as fast as possible when it comes to IKEA, but my partner wants to shop and look at every section. It literally becomes a day trip when we only went in for one thing.
You never go into IKEA for one thing.
Like going for the spatula.
Like you don't.
Spatulas are so good.
I know people who go there for the meatballs.
Well, this
to actually just eat there.
Katya's all about having the meatballs and making up.
Go fancy about IKEA meatballs.
A bit of IKEA there.
Where do you go? Like, where do you hate going to with your partner that always is an argument when you go there?
Anywhere that involves getting out of the house at a certain time. Literally anywhere that involves
really
a time
early.
schedule.
Like, yeah.
No, we're meant to be at dinner at 8 o'clock. That's not going to happen.
I would wreck
so
my
why
head
would
on
we do
right,
that?
yeah. Food shops.
I'm joking.
I can't, I'm into, say, a Tesco's or wherever else and whiz around where Lucy's kind of just up and down every aisle.
And the middle
You don't
aisle.
even need to get stuff in every aisle.
But why would you go together?
Well, because
I think
it's
some
doing
people
things
say
together.
it's fun to do it together, and I actually like it. But yeah, some people are different. Airports is another one.
No.
A lot of stress in airports if you're going with your partner.
Orla has said the same. Another place that causes arguments with couples is in the airport. Such a stressful place.
Nah.
Particularly Dublin Airport around summertime.
But it's like every single man turns into a dad, even if they don't have kids at the airport. They walk 5 feet ahead. They're checking to see if they have everyone's passport. They're like, do you have this? We've got this sorted.
Sorry for being organised.
But it's like, hold on, I just want to go. Check out. Oh, look, I'm over here. I'm just... You're like, let's walk ahead. Let's get to the gate. We're there 3 hours beforehand. Look, we don't need to be at the gate.
snooze before going to the airport.
That was an accident and we still made the flight, so still, you know,
stress.
Airport dad over here.
Can't be dealing with that.
Gosh.
Where is a guaranteed argument with you and your partner? Where do you go? Where do you hate to go?
What's
but
happened?
Can have to?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. 089 111 111 to get in contact. Now, after the break, psychotherapist Dr. Colman Noctor tells us exactly why the 4 to 7 zone is the perfect place and why we should all be living it. So when you go to the airport, you'll be chill. We'll talk to you shortly.
It's great to have you back. Now, most people every person experiences stress and anxiety at some point in their lives. But learning ways to manage this will help your overall well-being and quality of life.
But how do you do it? Psychotherapist Dr. Colman Noctor says finding our mental sweet spot will help us all live our lives to the fullest. Just be chill people. Colman, good morning. It's lovely to have you with us. Thank you so much.
How are you?
So you've got, it's right here.
New book.
It's called The 4 to 7 Zone. I think it's important to be like, what is the 4 to 7 zone? What is it? Because you use this.
Yeah, well, it's important to say it's not for children aged 4 to 7, because everyone seems to make an assumption. This is my departure into well-being for everybody. So it's not just a parenting book. It's not really anything to do with children, really. It's about everyone. So I suppose the idea of, my own opinion is we're losing the run of ourselves a little bit when it comes to the extreme way in which we live our lives. So everything is, we've normalised excess. All you can eat, binge watch. You know, there's this sort of idea that, you know, we kind of had this kind of normalising of excess, and people think, well, that's where the level is. That's where normal is. And I think we've lost all sense of enough. And without a sense of enough, then you can never feel content, if that makes any sense. So the idea around us chasing rainbows all the time is causing difficulty. So everybody I meet, I ask them, you know, how much do you sleep? How much do you eat? All I hear people saying who come to me for help is 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I never meet the 4 to 7.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, when you ask on a scale of 1 to 10.
How much of this do you do? So anxiety, I think about it all the time, 9 out of 10. Anxiety, I'm avoidant, I try not to think of anything, 1 out of 10. Neither of those are a successful way of managing an issue. Do you know what I mean? There's the middle, no matter whether it's a parent comes to you and says, my child is struggling, we're going to move schools, or he has to sit it out. And you're saying, well, there's more than 2 options here. I'm in a relationship, I'm unhappy, I'm going to have to stay in this relationship, or I have to break up. No, there's a million things in the middle that you can do. So the idea of therapy is around trying to find that middle. And it's not about drastic changes. So we said, you know, I'm going to change, I'm going to drop loads of weight, I'm going to get a new tracksuit, new runners, caveman diet, out I go. You fail within days. The level of success that you have with intensity is tiny. the level you have of success with consistency is much, much higher. But again, it's very hard to sell moderate.
I was going to say that because you look at social media and it's all like striving to be the best, or you know how bad are you feeling type thing. So selling being moderate is difficult, but at the same time, if we talk in terms of mental health, it's having that level balance all the time is so important.
Well, if you compare physical health to mental health, so you look at physical health, you get your pulse up, you get your calories down. Yeah. Mental health's completely different. That's the extremes are the danger points. It's the middle. It's balance and equilibrium is what you're striving for. So mental fitness is about moderation. It is about middle. It's not about the extremes. So the more middle you are in terms of how you can prioritise things in your life and how you can react to them, the better able you're going to be to sort sorts of situations out.
And culturally, we come from a grand society, don't we? Like, it would have always been, how are you doing? Sure, I'm grand. How are you doing? Sure, I'm grand. Or is that grand always on the lower scale because, you know, every country has tall poppy syndrome notions, all that kind of stuff?
See, the grand is a masking of everything because it doesn't represent 1, 2, 3... Or
so it doesn't mean anything?
It doesn't mean anything because grand is just, don't ask me anymore, you know, or it's just, I don't want to burden you with my issue.
Yes.
It has no representation of how we really are. But if you think about it, overcorrection has always been a problem. We go for years not talking about mental health. Now we have a kind of a TikTok avalanche of and I think we've mixed up mental health promotion with mental illness promotion. So instead of seeking how to be fit, we're saying, do you have this symptom? Do you have this symptom? You could have this. So we're promoting mental illnesses.
Do you think that we've veered into that?
I do. A little bit I do, yeah. I think from the point of view of, what we're trying to do is trying to make people more emotionally and mentally aware and fit and to be able to kind of be aware of those things. Absolutely, like, not all worry is anxiety. Not all sadness is depression. So the idea of we have to experience those 1, 2, 3s and 8, 9, 10s. This book is hugely forgiving. It says life will throw these curveballs at you. Bereavements, relationship breakups, stress. You will begin the 8, 9, 10. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. The problem is staying there. So do you know what I mean? So from the point of view of you go and someone has broken up from a relationship, they're upset and everything else, you wouldn't take them to the GP because it's an understandable reaction to that event. If you return to them in 12 weeks' time or 12 months' time and they're still in that position, then you do something about it.
Should the word change from mental health? Because health, I kind of just has a negative content as opposed it should be strength. You know, mental strength, it should be something that people can work on.
Again, yeah, and I mean, how we cope with things oftentimes determines how we go through an experience. So you and I might go through exactly the same experience. You might say, well, I'm going under my duvet, never coming out. And I might go, well, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do this differently. And that's about our coping strategy. It's not about the trauma doesn't determine the outcome. Okay. The way in which we manage adversity does. So we should be talking about, it's not about avoiding any mental distress. And this is where the problem is. We kind of say all sadness is bad, all anxiety is bad, all worry is bad. They're parts of life.
Yes.
It's about finding a way of getting those under control. And sometimes you'll need help with that, and sometimes you may need to go to a professional. But if you have good family, good perspective, but the lens with which you see the world... And here's the other thing. I think we're driving people into those unnecessarily. So take average, right? Average should be met with relief, not disappointment.
Okay.
Right? We have... And this is only recent. Oh, you're only average. You're just average. My son is above average, right? So we're all striving. There's 10 people in a room. One will struggle, one will be successful. The 8 in the middle will be average. If you make average a point of discontent, you can sign 80% of the population to not feel enough. And that makes absolutely no sense. Average is fine. Yeah. Most of us will be there.
It's funny, whenever, from a professional sport point of view, I always remember that the coaches always wanted you to be in the 6 to 7 group, as opposed to one week being a 10, the next week being a 1. You know, so from a sport, from everything, consistency is what helps people win matches or what helps people do well in anything, really.
And again, consistency over intensity. Again, and it doesn't have that really clingy clickbait headline of 6-pack abs in 5 weeks. It's not about that, but it's about balance and moderation. And the other thing is we don't have a blood test for our mental health. We don't have a MRI, so we have to kind of work out what it is. In the book, what I've tried to do is give us a strategy to try and test where your mental fitness is.
Yeah,
so
you have a mental health check in this.
Yeah, and it's the closest thing you're going to get to that. So where's my sleep at? Where's my exercise at? Where's my concentration, my memory? Where's my social world? Am I over-connecting, under-connecting? And you'll find, if you're in the 8, 9, 10 or 1, 2, 3, the longer you stay there, the more you're likely you are to burn out.
So it's a holistic approach. But, Colman, I think it's really interesting what you said, that we're over-subscribing to mental illness. We're like, this is what's wrong with you, rather than going, you know, you're fine. I think is it an important message to be like, anxiety is something that everyone has. If we didn't have it, we'd be walking out in front of cars. Like, it is a natural way of being, not over anxious, but anxiety is a part of everyday life, right?
Stress is necessary.
It's necessary, yeah.
You wouldn't get up in the morning unless you had anxiety about getting in. So we're driven by motivation and fear. So motivation by desire and fear.
Yeah.
So I desire to earn money, so I'm going to get this job. Or I fear not having any money, so I don't. But without those two motivations, we wouldn't do anything. So the idea of anxiety, surmountable stress.
Okay.
Surmountable stress is what we need. And that keeps us on our toes. It gives us frustration tolerance. We learn those skills because we say, well, I've been through that before. I can get through this again. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if stress is too much and it's burning you out, not helpful. If you've no stress in your life and you have you've no adversity, then you don't get to learn those skills. So it is that 4 to 7, again, that sweet spot where you're under pressure enough to learn, but not become overwhelmed.
Yeah, really fascinating.
And you said, without a sense of enough, you will never feel content.
It's impossible.
I think that's fascinating. That is so fascinating. It's
and that mediocrity is okay. There's nothing wrong with it, you know?
Right.
Like, being average at something is something like that we should all almost strive for. Listen, really interesting, Colman. Thank you so much for coming and talking. The 4 to 7 zone is available in all stores now. And yeah, absolutely, love it. Live in the middle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Colman. That was actually brilliant. Thank you.
I'm trying to suppress my hunger right now because right now I feel probably an 8 to 10, particularly what's coming up. Kathy, you're in the kitchen.
You could have a 4.
I am. Tommy, I'll fill you in on what's for breakfast. We've got Paul Knapp here and a nice, delicious veggie dish. It's cauliflower, but not as you know it, the fancy kind, right?
Oh, always, absolutely.
See you soon.
You're very welcome back now. Paul Knapp is in the kitchen with a recipe to devour.
Yes, he's got a tasty twist on cauliflower. What are you making for us today?
Roasted brain, it looks like here, Paul.
Yeah, it's not mine, thankfully. So what we're doing is we're doing a kind of a cauliflower with a chimichurri sauce, OK? So what I've done is I'm going to show you 2 ways that we can do our cauliflower, all right? And then we're finishing that with a chimichurri sauce, which is basically kind of a parsley, garlic and chilli, kind of a raw, kind of blitzed up, served on top. It's originally from like Uruguay.
So good.
And it is really, really pungent. It's one of those things, you know, when you kind of have finished eating something and you still get that lovely kind of aftertaste a little bit after, you can still taste it. It's just those flavour bombs like there. So yeah, really, really simple and easy to do. So what we're going to do is our cauliflower, as I said there, right? What we've got is 2 ways that we can do this. Is the cauliflower steak. So if you've got like just one person coming to dinner, say like me, the awkward vegan that's coming to your house, like, you know, and you don't want to do the whole brain. So what you can do is you can cut it into kind of like these steaks, which I've just given you guys there. So all you do is you cut the cauliflower sort of like so thick, and all you need to do then is you just literally just butter that, or kind of just paste that with some olive oil and a little bit of just salt over the top of this, like that, and that is done. That would go into the oven.
That's it?
That's for the cauliflower.
So no pre-seasoning
For the cauliflower steak, that's all that is for that, OK? That goes into the oven about 180 degrees for about 30 minutes.
Right.
If you're doing the whole roasted cauliflower, if you want to make the centrepiece like we have here as well, OK? So on the whole roasted cauliflower, what we do is we can leave some of the external leaves on, you know, the kind of the ones that are closer to the cauliflower itself.
OK.
And then what you can do is you pop that into some salted boiling water, all right? And we leave that in there then for about 8 minutes. We take that out and we drain it. We just let some of the excess water come off. And then again, the same thing, all we do is we literally just brush this with olive oil, the same as we've done with our cauliflower steak. And then what we do then is, again, just a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of salt over the top of that. And they then literally, again, that one goes in for about 50 minutes, OK? So that one goes in, as I say, for around about 50 minutes. This one goes in for around about 30 minutes, OK?
So that's going to cook through a lot faster.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So our chimichurri sauce, OK? So what we've got is we've got parsley, we've got shallots, we've got some chilli, and we've got a little bit of coriander. All of the recipe for this is up on Island M's Facebook page as well as Virgin Media One's website, OK? So into a food processor, I'm putting in about a lemon size worth of shallots, OK? I'm putting in 1 chilli and I'm putting in about 4 cloves of garlic go in there.
Now, you can do chimichurri. You don't have to stick it into a blender.
No, absolutely. No, you can. You can chop this up. Normally, traditionally, it would have been just literally just roughly chopped and stuff like that, OK?
OK.
I'm putting in there some red wine vinegar, all right? Because what I'm going to do is just give this a little blitz first of all, just to kind of bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to put in there just a little drop of oil goes into here as well, OK? So I say all the measurements are up on Island M's Facebook page, and we just give this literally a quick pulse. So all I'm doing is I'm just literally just bringing that down a little bit, OK? And then into that, I'm going to add in there a couple of big fistfuls of fresh parsley, OK? And also I'm going to put in there as well is I'm going to pop in there a little bit of coriander goes in there too. And with this, OK, I'm going to put in the rest of my white wine vinegar, my red wine vinegar, should I say. I'm going to pop in there the rest of my olive oil too. With this, right, this is like a salad dressing in itself. So when you make a salad dressing, OK, you want to make it, you know, like a cordial, as I say, like you buy like the orange squashes or the blackcurrant squashes in the supermarkets. They're very, very kind of, they're a condensed flavour, OK? Your salad dressing wants to be that kind of same sort of thing because it gets diluted with the dish, if you understand what we mean, OK? Right. So we'd give this a pulse. And what we want is we want this to be, as you can see there, as you said there, you kind of have it that's chopped, so it's still kind of chunky and bitty and stuff like that. And what we do then is we are the people that are in charge of this ourselves. So how you might like it a little bit more vinegary, you might like it a little bit more sour, you might like it a little bit more chilli.
So taste as you go.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Pop in there, a little bit of cayenne goes in there as well, just for a little excess heat. Pop that in there. Job done, that is done. Okay.
And there's a generous amount of olive oil in it, which, you know, is common for most salads. How, like, what's the measurement of the olive oil going into that?
There's normally about a third acid, say, to oil. So the red wine vinegar and then whatever it was. I think it's around about 175 of olive oil down to around about 80-ish of red wine vinegar.
Lovely.
Garlicky dressing.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a hummusy thing you have underneath.
This is yeah. So I'm serving this on a garlic yoghurt. So what we've got is we've got some garlic, some lemon zest, and a little bit of lemon juice, and we're just mixing that in there with 4 tablespoons of plant-based yoghurt. Okay. And what I would do is I would just then put that on the base of my plate. Okay. Ready to take my whole roasted cauliflowers we have there, and then just if we were just doing the small little cauliflower steak, I'd have that like that. Yeah. So the whole cauliflower, as I said, after about 50 minutes, this is what this comes out like. So what you get is you get this lovely roasted and toasted cauliflower. Your cauliflower steak comes out like that, OK?
Look at that.
No, because I've tried, and I said this to you before, I tried to make like roasted broccoli in the air fryer and just ended up burning it. It was all charred, but maybe I wasn't putting enough oil.
Just a little bit of oil, and then maybe just tone down on the cooking time as well. Yeah. So all we're going to put on this is tahini. So all tahini is sesame seed. So again, like you say, you see this used in hummus.
Hold on. So that's different from the yoghurt you had underneath?
Absolutely. So we've got yoghurt on yours and we've got tahini on the top. So there is yoghurt.
Oh, so that's underneath the...
Yes. So it's set on a base of the yoghurt, OK? And then we've got our tahini. And then what we're going to finish it with, I've got loads of spoons in my back pocket, is the chimichurri, which goes on top of this. So again, it's this vibrant, it's full of, like, flavour. It's parsley.
To be fair to you, Paul, like, the flavour on it is incredible. But there's a lot's gone into that.
But that's
isn't there?
Cauliflower is
yogurt
a bit
underneath, you have the tahini, you have the chimichurri.
Absolutely,
but it is worth it, to be fair. It does taste gorgeous.
And just finish it off with a few little bombs of colour, just if you want to just add on a little bit of pomegranate or something like that. And it's a really, really simple dish, but you put that in front of, like, a dinner party or something like that. You can have it as a veg.
That's a centrepiece.
Absolutely. And there you get this really, really simple, really, really easy chimichurri.
Do you have a knife? Like, how do I cut that into steaks then?
What you do for that, I'd cut it like you're cutting a cake. So cut it into wedges. So I would cut it like, just cut a wedge out of it as such. So you just cut down...
A wedge?
Yeah, so like, you know, you like cutting a bit of birthday cake.
Right.
And then you would just cut that out. Okay. You just want some more, that's all you want to do.
I do want some more.
So would this be a staple on your... for Christmas?
See, and it just comes out like that. You can use it because of the colours. It lends itself.
I'm all right.
Because of the colours, it does lend itself to kind of that seasonal dish with the greens and the reds. But yeah, it'd be a lovely centrepiece as a roasted veggie dish for the Christmas table.
Yeah.
The man's in for more. We do like to see that.
That's it. With broccoli, really with cauliflower, they're bland on their own, so they need that extra flavour.
And you just roast this, and it just totally changes the flavour of that traditional boiled cauliflower. Yes. And it gives it a lovely. It's really nutty, really creamy. And even if you was just to take your cauliflower and even just puree it up, you get this. Just eat straight from the plate, Tom. It's a lot easier.
Just bite into it. Bite into the brain.
It's like a cake. I mean, I'd love to bring it out for my daughter and say, "This is your birthday cake." Paul Knapp, delish. Thank you very much. Absolutely gorgeous. Come back to us after the break when Deric is going to be finding out more about the great work done in Our Lady's Hospice in Dublin. Back here in a few minutes. Now, coming up tonight on Virgin Media 1 at 9 o'clock is a groundbreaking new documentary called Inside the Hospice.
Over the next 3 nights, we'll be taking a look at the patients and staff at hospices around the country.
To tell us more is Deric at Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services, Wicklow. Hi, Deric.
Yes, team, the sun is shining down here on us in the glorious gardens of Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services here this morning. As you mentioned there, Tommy, that groundbreaking documentary, Inside the Hospice, kicking off tonight at 9. Eileen Nolan is with us. She is the grounds and gardening manager, as well as Gay Davern. He is with the Hospice Volunteer Services. And Eileen, we start with you because you didn't look like this on Friday when I met you. You got the hair done at the weekend.
Yes, I did.
You scrub up nicely.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're here a long time, over 30 years.
30 years, 31 actually this August. Yeah, it's a very long time. 30 years don't be long going, but when you start building a garden for a hospice, it's very hard to walk away because the garden matures with you. So it's something that you really can't walk away from.
And I suppose for you, it has been a labour of love, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I started here at a young age, and it's something that I'm really here for the patients. They really enjoy the garden. It's a big part of their life and their stay here. So it's up to me to make it work for them, that they can walk around easily and make it accessible, and taking all the scents, taking everything. It's not a garden with a name. It's not a sensory garden. It's not a particular type of garden. It's a garden that works for everybody, because we get young mums with kids as well, so they have to be able to run around, and so there's lots of aspects and things to think about when you're creating a hospice garden.
And when you first landed here, it was a big space. There are plenty of acres down here.
Yeah, there's about 23 acres. There was a lot of fields here when I started. First, it was a working farm. And back in the 1800s, it was this rose garden was actually attached to the main house, so it was kind of a walled-in vegetable garden. And then the Sisters of Charity took it over, and they used to use it for their rosaries to walk around and things like that. And then they handed it over to the hospice, which was very generous of them. And it was a garden that was nice, but it needed a bit of upgrading and updating. So the patients could get around easily. So I widened the patio areas. I put in new paths. Edging, put in a nice lavender walkway along here, and just make it nice, user-friendly, and just update it a bit, and so they could have social space, because it was quite wide open. And
we're talking about the space because I suppose the space is a very solemn space as well. For people to come out here and get a bit of respite, get a bit of a break away from everything that's going on. So it's a lovely silent space as well.
Oh yeah, it's a real break away from the clinical environment, and it's a little bit of a walk as well, so it's not directly outside your room, because there are little gardens outside the room, but this is a bit of a more of a escape away. So if anyone has a special birthday or they want to have a little afternoon tea, they can bring their family down and have a little soiree in the garden, and that's very special to them. And it can, I see them sitting there on their own, and they just take in the sky and the sun. Even on a wet day, they'll sit there because there's a nice little undercover space, and they'll sit and look at the rain in their wheelchair, and they really love it.
The garden features tonight in episode 1, in fact, Prosecco parties. I believe there's a good few of them happening here.
Prosecco and the rest, yeah. Whatever goes, yeah. We aim to please, so we would set up like a space, maybe if a patient couldn't get as far as the rose garden, they'd sit in their little room outside, and there's a social space as well as a garden space outside their room, so they can, if they wish to, meet people. So we would there was a particular lady, Eileen, and she loved her little parties outside, and she always wanted her umbrella at her table and surrounded by plants, and maybe her husband would come in the afternoons, and they would sit there and have their few little drinks, yeah.
Which is lovely. And
which is so nice.
Your role, you said to me earlier on, is to make people happy, which I think is what you've achieved here in the garden. Gay volunteers, a big part of the hospice movement.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the hospice movement, and a valuable part of it, but a very well cared part of the hospice movement as well. We always get a great mention in the CEO's letter every month, so we really appreciate it for what we do. We work with patients. Some of us don't work with patients. We work at the fundraising end of it, and anything that we can to support the patient and support the hospice, that's why we're knocking around.
And I suppose this place wouldn't run, the volunteers really keep this place moving, don't they?
I suppose there's over 400 of us that volunteer within the hospice, and we do roles from tea trolleys, tea deliveries, driving patients home to and from, reading with patients, staying with patients, and then we have also a community companion programme.
Yeah, so what's involved in that then, Gay?
We go out and we look after the social needs of a patient, nothing to do with the medical. My own patient, we go for a walk, we bring the dog for a walk, and we go for a pint. and then I bring him home afterwards. It's his opportunity to get out to have a drink.
Yeah, so it's just a simple, basic every day.
Simple, basic every day, and it's reconnecting them after being ill for a while and then going back to the environment and giving them the confidence to get back out and have a bit of social life again.
Yeah, a bit of normality and a bit of respite as well.
Bit of normality.
If people want to get involved as volunteers, then where can they go?
Contact the hospice volunteer office here. We've two volunteer coordinators, and they look after all of it there. There's plenty of opportunities to do, and the really good thing about being a volunteer here is it's as much time as you want to give yourself. No pressure on you to do anything you don't want to do. It's when you're comfortable with what you do and the time you want to give.
And without the volunteers, it wouldn't happen. Before we let you go, come over to me here, Eileen, because your back must be broke. You're planting sunflowers.
Yes, sunflowers here. This is for the sunflower event, obviously, which is happening soon. So please do donate and help us out, because none of this garden would happen without all your help. And we grow our own sunflowers, and we also sell our own seeds that we collected last year, only €2. So don't be afraid to come in the front gate just because it's the hospice, and we will let you go home again. You can come in and buy a plant and have a cup of coffee or visit our fabulous heritage centre. We've lots of facilities on site.
Thank you so much for joining us, of course, guys. That documentary kicking off tonight, over 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, tonight at 9, Inside the Hospice. And I believe you have the details if people want to get involved, they want to donate, or they wish to volunteer. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, a reminder, the brand new series Inside the Hospice airs tonight on Virgin Media 1 at 9 o'clock.
To help support your local hospice, please go to sunflowerdays.ie, and you can also visit the website by scanning the QR code that will be on screen. It's right there on screen. See that? If you go up, just take a picture, open your photo app, and it'll bring you to where you need to go.
Amazing to see the great work that's done there. I think we should just read out this message as well from Jess, who just sent us in a text. Great to see Deric at the hospice this morning. My mum was days away from dying in one of the country's biggest ICUs. She was in a shared ward and there was no privacy for us as a family. It was horrific. We ended up getting her into the hospice at Harold's Cross at the last minute, and she surprised us all by living a further 6 months. Fabulous. She died peacefully, and those 6 months were so special in the end for our whole family.
I'm so happy you had that time. And today would have been my dad's 80th birthday. Oh. He's gone since 21, and the hospice were so amazing. So do support them, and it's really emotional, by the way. You've seen it.
Yeah.
The Inside the Hospice. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So scan the code there. Yeah. We'll be back with you in a few minutes on Ireland Day.
See you shortly.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Hello, you are very welcome back to the final hour of Ireland Day. We have got a country zinger and some serious tech zingers coming your way.
Putting so much work into the intros this morning, everybody. Her father is country music legend Jimmy Buckley, and Claudia Buckley herself is making her very own mark on the industry. We're going to be sitting it down with the award-winning singer as she gets ready to tour the US very shortly.
Oh, lucky, imagine that would be exciting.
Heading off singing, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
Off to the US.
It was either become a breakfast television presenter or start the singing career.
Made the wrong decision. If you are busy planning your holidays or heading off to sing in the US, don't forget the gadgets that will make it a little bit easier. Colin Baker is going to be here. Well, he is here right now to tell us what should be in the suitcase. Colin, what have we got?
We've got some serious travel hacks if you're looking forward to your holidays this year. Mostly, do you know what I don't get? People who don't have noise-cancelling headphones, and they give out about sort of babies crying on the plane and stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's so simple to sort these days. Have you got noise-cancelling? That's incredible.
Absolutely.
And they're amazing.
They are incredible. And it's amazing when I put them on people who have never experienced it before, and they're like, oh, it's like it's some sort of mysticism.
Yeah, it's like sensory deprivation. You're like, what's happening?
Do you know what's even better? If you have noise-cancelling headphones and you have children. I can't hear them. What are you talking about?
I just love this. And Lucy's like, can I have a go off those? And Tommy's like, nope, they're all
I didn't hear the kids the whole time.
It was amazing. Lovely night's sleep. Did you, babes? Lovely night's sleep. So we'll be talking about that in just a little while. Katya is out. What's on the catwalk this morning, Katya?
Well, I am with stylist Mandy Maher this morning. Mandy, what are we talking about?
So today it's about occasional wear, some beautiful pieces to show you this morning. Buzzing to actually show you some great style this morning. Beautiful dresses we see here on Alicia, and I'm loving the colour of it, and it's just so vibrant. It's great to see some beautiful summer pieces.
It's the
coming
season.
through.
All
Absolutely.
the communions, confirmations coming up, so that'll be great
That's for
to see.
sure.
Yeah, but over to Deric, who's in Harold's Cross in Dublin this morning to support a very worthwhile cause. Deric, how are you getting on?
Yes, Katia, the sun is shining down here in the grounds of Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services here in Harles Cross. Sharon Laws, producer director of Inside the Hospice. Sharon, was it tough to make the doc series?
It was in parts, but it was very uplifting. Labour of love, I'd have to say. Yeah.
Right, so tough watch, but a must watch.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Right, there you have it, guys. Back to you in studio.
It has looked so lovely there all morning, Deric. Thank you so much for going down. Some of your messages now. We were talking earlier on, and this is on the.
Just say the documentary again, if you didn't know. Tonight, 9 o'clock. Inside the Hospice. Make sure you check it out, Virgin Media One.
Absolutely. Now, on the front of the Irish Independent, they're documenting 6 cases where people have died from it's medical tourism. They've gone, they've had surgery in other countries, and 6 people have died. 22 people have died in England in 2019 from medical surgery. We had a message in here about it from Caroline, I think there.
Yes, we did.
She went to Turkey. She said, I had my gastric sleeve in Turkey and had a great experience. I did my due diligence on the doctor and made sure they were registered with the medical council in Turkey. My hospital was a bariatric centre. Oh, gosh, I've lost it.
Bariatric Centre
of Excellence, and I was kept for 5 days, 4 nights. People need to be so careful. I've heard horror stories. Thankfully, it was not my experience. That's it. You need to do your own independent research if you are going, because I know a lot of people.
I've heard a lot of horror stories too, but I've heard of so many people going over there. Like it's really, really common.
It's just it's a lot cheaper, I guess. So it's tempting for the amount of people that want to go.
There was a lot. Whereas a woman that we know that works here, and she was just like, oh, forget getting out the credit union loan to be going after the World Cup or the Euros. They're getting it out to go off for the bariatric surgery. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, that's what's happening.
I wonder if that causes many arguments between couples, because we were asking people where did they go to that absolutely caused as an argument. We were talking about going to the airport. That's one that even just going shopping. I have to admit, whenever I go shopping with my wife, it just leads to an argument.
This is food shopping, right?
Any shopping.
But I think 2 styles. Men want to rush into things, and I think the ladies like to take their time and enjoy the experience.
I do not understand why any couple, gay, straight, whatever you are, would go shopping for clothes with their other half. That sounds like the 7th circle of hell.
I don't trust his sense of style. That's why.
But that's for him. You go with him.
Yeah.
You'd never want him going with you, right?
No.
Well, we went to take my daughter once, and I was there cracking the whip. Come on, one outfit, you're gone. Hurry up. And she's like, let's try on lots of outfits. It's like, there's coffee to be drank.
I'm hungry.
Matt, exactly, Matt said, clothes shopping with my other half is like torture.
Yes.
Hear you, Matt. She goes into every single shop, tries on every single item she likes, but we leave with 1 bag. What a waste of time.
One bag is successful, to be honest, if you're good. Darren, I hate going to Penny's with my wife. Somehow she managed to spend an hour in there every single time. I just don't understand why you would.
Couples who shop together stay together.
But they hate it. As we're clearly seeing from all of these messages.
Something that you do.
Don't do it.
Something you do have to do with your partner.
Go for dinner together.
On a regular occasion.
Go for Supermax together. That
go
sounds
to the
just
airport
better.
together. Hilda said my partner is so laid back in the airport, and I'm the complete opposite. If it was left up to him, we would not make the flight.
So she's the airport mum and he's not the airport. Okay.
I make sure we get there in loads of times, have the passports ready, and he just follows me around. I wish he could be as easy going as him. Somebody has to crack the whip, though.
You've got to have time for the Sauvignon Blanc. That's all I'm saying. An airport wine is lovely. It's lovely. Thank you for all of those messages. And to everyone who goes clothes shopping with their partner, you are the troopers of life. After the break, we're going to be meeting Irish country music star Claudia Buckley. We'll talk to you very shortly.
Now, our next guest is a singer who's making it her mission to bring country music to a younger audience.
She's also about to embark on her very first US tour. Before we chat to Claudia Buckley, let's take a clip from her song, Trouble's Here.
Trouble's here, but I ain't gonna worry about the way things are, 'cause we've got a love that can light the fuse to the brightest star. We got a big moon above us, shining through the dark. I'll trade this mind full of troubles for a love burning up in my heart. Hey, yes, I ain't gonna worry about the way things are, 'cause we've got a love that can light the fuse to the brightest star. Yeah, we got a big moon above
lovely Claudia Buckley's all over the place. Hello, good morning,
Hello.
Claudia.
Good morning.
We were there, and our producers there going, "You can't tap your dance to that, your foot to that song." And you were like, "Can you jive, lads?" You'd want to get up jiving to that, wouldn't you?
You would. I love the way how you were like, "Yes, I can jive," and you were a little bit more like, yeah.
You definitely can. You're from Monaghan.
Well, you see, jiving is like a religion in Monaghan.
Oh, it
like,
is.
I
It's
can
taken
kind of
very
spin
seriously.
my mum around.
It is.
But like these guys and girls in Monaghan, like it's unbelievably how talented they are.
It is no joke. Like, honest to God, I was at a gig in Monaghan not so long ago, and I was just going to the gig. It was a country dance, and I can't really dance. I'm, on the stage. I just look at the people dancing, and a fella was like, come on out on the floor, and I was like, okay, sure. And I went out, and he was like twirling me, and it wasn't going the way he was hoping it would go, and he was like, "You're really bad," and I was like, "I know, sorry."
This is why I do this thing.
Yes, that's why I sing. That's why I sing.
So do you reckon, because you're obviously touring all around Ireland, but we just mentioned you're going to be heading off to the US very shortly. Do you think they'll be into jiving? Like, is it more?
I don't really know. The set list that we've put together for the States is very much a mixture of traditional country music, because obviously the States is the home of country music. Pop country, and then obviously in America you have to think there's a lot of people from Ireland there, so they want to hear something from home, anything that reminds them of home. So we've a little bit of Irish stuff in there as well, like I Love Mary Black. There's a lot of Mary Black stuff in there and everything, so I'm trying to just do something that would please everybody, and then deliver my own songs, my own music, the stuff I write. So a mixture of everything.
And how is that kind of going, okay, because you have been making your name yourself. Obviously your father is Jimmy Buckley, right?
Yes.
A huge name in the Irish country music scene. And he's gone to America. He's done all of that with the Three Amigos and everything. But for you to forge your own name and to go to America, that's a big deal, isn't it?
It is. I was speaking to my friends, and I was working with Nathan Carter over the weekend, and he, is one of my close friends now. We've worked together for a long time, and he was like, "I'm just so proud of you." He was like, "This is typical Claudia, just does it the opposite way around. She goes on a tour in America before she does her Irish tour." Do you know what I mean? He was like, "This is amazing. There's nobody else, no other woman in country music in Ireland has ever done this, really." So.
But there's huge crowds. This is the thing. It's all sold out over there, like to hundreds.
Yeah, no, to be honest, we put in a lot of work to promotion and all that kind of stuff, but I was there, sure, listen, if I get 40 or 50 people at it, it'll be grand, but no, it's sold out up in 500-600 people, so I'm so happy and so grateful that people are actually coming to see us. It's great.
And we mentioned, weren't there, about your dad, Jimmy Buckley. So like, you would have grown up with him being away, living out of a suitcase a lot, and this is obviously the route that you're taking.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that excites you, to head off to the States, living out of a suitcase, just gigging?
Yeah, when you say it like that, it sounds really not glamorous. It's not very glamorous. People think this is like, wow, you're on stage and you're wearing the glitz and the glam. That's a country music thing,
Yes.
Dress up in your rhinestones and all that. But no, it very much is, I'm living out of 4 suitcases at the minute. Have you seen the back of my car? Honest to God, there's shoes and curlers and jackets and hairspray cans. But I love it. It's in me since I was a child. I love the road. I love every part of it.
And how is it? Because when you think of country music, obviously, it does seem to be a very big community.
Yep.
And there are younger and younger people coming up. I suppose the biggest name, a decade ago was Nathan Carter kind of coming through. So what is it like bringing it to a younger audience? Because the younger audience is there.
Yep.
Like, it's intense around the country, the love for this music.
Totally. And I think, people, like my little sister is 20. She's, in her first year of college. She's going out and having a ball, and a lot of her friends are from all over the country. They may not be into country music at all. And more often than not, she would bring them along to a gig or a show of mine, and they'd say, "I don't really know what this is going to be like." And they come out and they say, "Wow, that was class. This is better than any night out." And they're fans and followers for life then. But it is kind of, like you said, my mission to make people see that country music, you know, it's great. It's not all about cowboy hats and cowboy boots and, you know, not everybody's going around like, yeah, all the time, you know.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't. Sometimes, no, but it really is. It's all about storytelling, and it's really beautiful music. You know, some of the biggest songs or biggest hits in the world, like I Will Always Love You, you know, everybody knows that from Whitney, but Dolly wrote that, and it started off as a country song. So I'm really trying to kind of pave the way for people younger than me and show them that, you know, you don't have to go and just sing Rhinestone Cowboy. Like, you can come out and just tell your story. That's a country song.
But if you want to sing Rhinestone Cowboy, you can as well.
But that's totally fine.
Because it's amazing.
Because we all do that. It's not just
We've got to do it every once in a while. Yeah.
But you are a huge Dolly Parton fan.
Yes, I am.
Are you, like, getting to America? Do you reckon there's any chance you might be able to cross each other's paths?
If I knew where she was,
I'd
be there like a shot. Oh no, listen, unfortunately, I've never gotten to see Dolly live, but if she ever does perform anywhere, I will be there. She's always been my role model since I've been a child. And it's not just because, you know, people are like, oh, Dolly, you know, she's just, you know, big hair and she's a great person. She has, but she's a really, really talented musician, an amazing songwriter and a great businesswoman. And I think that's why I look up to her more than anything. It's not really anything to do with what's on the outside. I love that too because, you know, I love... Can't be a hypocrite here. I love big hair, I love the diamonds, love all that kind of crap, but I love what she stands for.
How do you like living the lifestyle? Because, like, as you said, you're living out of the car, but when you are a country musician, there is that pressure. There's that look, which is brilliant. You lean into. It's what you loved. Big hair. Let's get the rhinestones on. Because you got to put on a spectacle.
You do. I never feel pressured. I think everybody has their own look. It's, you know, to stand out on stage, everybody has their own look, but you gotta feel comfortable. I'm just, like, people see you know, the shoes and they're like the jackets and the outfits and they're like, you couldn't stand on stage for 2 hours in that. It takes practice, guys, but you totally can. No, listen, I just love all of that. I love fashion and I love makeup and hair, and I've loved that since I was a kid. And, like, looking up to Dolly and all the women in country music, they're very much like, you know, the higher the hair, the closer to God, you know. And I live by that.
Absolutely, put a slap on it, off they go.
You're absolutely going in the right direction. Like, it's such an exciting time for you, and heading off to the States as well. And having the likes of Philomena Begley, huge inspiration and a mentor to you as well. You're also friends with Bill Murray, I gather, as well. Bumped into Phil, performed for Bill, and he's a big fan.
Yes, so we were performing at the Pro-Am in Adair earlier this year, and obviously there was lots of celebrities there and all that, and jumped up on stage and was kind of looking down. I was like, Jamie Dornan, anybody? You know, hello? And sure, I started, you know, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, and as soon as I started, da, 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 who was up the front? Bill Murray, like, absolutely going for it, you know, with all these women around him, like, yeah. And I was like, what's going on? What is going on? But finished it, and at the end he came up and was very, very nice and was like, that was amazing. I had a ball. You guys know how to do it in Ireland. Come over to the States. And I was like, I will see you
I'm going to ring you. Absolutely. So funny. Now we know how to lure Bill Murray out of his place. You know, with the cat going, psh, psh, just do Shania Twain and Bill Murray is there.
Yes. It was so funny.
Everyone would be getting up for that.
Your Irish tour is in November. So you're doing the US, and then you're back and you're doing an Irish tour. You're going everywhere.
Yes. So we will be going to Galway, Tyrone, Killarney, Tipperary and Drogheda and many more. Philomena is going to be joining me on a couple of shows. She's going to come out and sing with me. Wow. Johnny Brady, my dad is going to come along to a few, and, you know, even he says, I never thought it would be the way, because coming home from gigs at night time, he'd ring me and be like, well, how was yours? And I'd be like, well, how was yours? And he was like, I still can't get my head around the fact that I'm ringing you to see how was your gig now, you know. So, yes.
Special perform with your dad, though.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice. I don't take it for granted. I definitely don't. You know, people always say, how do you feel about your dad being who your dad is? he's my dad. Yeah, I don't look at it, he's my dad.
I know.
You know.
And I just love that with the whole country scene that you're all so close-knit together, helping each other out. If people do want to get tickets for your shows starting in November, they, of course, visit Claudia Buckley on Ticketmaster. And all the very best in the US.
Thank you guys.
Lovely to have you in.
I need the luck.
I need to go out and have a go.
Absolutely not.
Need to go and have a walk in the car.
Yeah,
and we'll go all day.
You're welcome.
Still to come.
Let's go, girl.
Now, still to come this hour, our gadget guru is showing us the best bits to pack in your suitcase if you're heading off to the States.
Yeah, and we'll check out your suitcase. And we've got occasion wear looks on the catwalk. We'll talk to you very shortly.
Very welcome back. The weather is warming and the special occasions are here and they're just around the corner, actually.
They really are. From suits to dresses, Mandy Maher is here to give us a guide to incredible occasion wear. No pressure.
Absolutely. No pressure, thanks. Incredible. But it's great to see the sun coming out. It does the heart good this morning too. So.
It is so bloomin' nice to see it.
It is, it's great.
We're going to kick off straight away with Alicia and this fabulous outfit.
Isn't this just unbelievable? This particular outfit is from the Stables in Borough. Great little hidden treasure of a boutique, as I do call it. Now, it's not going to be for everybody, the outfit isn't, because it is slightly different with the crop top, as we can see here. But this is the style of the season with the crop top. We see here gorgeous matching trousers as well. Of course, that leg of the trousers is what's going to be very much in vogue as well for the season too.
OK, yes, because thank you for saying that, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not getting my belly out for anyone.
OK, I know, but it is beautiful. I love it. But what about the bow? The bow is the statement piece on this top.
Yeah.
Isn't it great? I'm loving it. Ended, of course, like that. Oh, as I said to you, it's not going to be for everyone, but it is something a little bit different.
Something different.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to showcase something a little bit different. There are people who are going to absolutely love this. Personally, myself, I love it if I was more toned. But anyway.
No, but hold on. Can I just say, because I've seen like a friend of mine, and she wears crops all the time, but it's not like she's got six packs.
Okay.
They just suit her. She gets them the right size. She sizes up and she does it properly.
So it's almost like it highlights certain silhouettes better. Like some people actually prefer. And I don't know if the camera's picking up on this, but there's a glare of gold in there, which is very handy if you have the gold hoops, anything at home that you just want to pair with it.
Absolutely, you know? And it has that the brocade material in it. It's absolutely beautiful. But I've noticed on weddings in particular, I know people might be looking at something like this, but people are going, the younger generation are wearing actually tops like this to weddings as well. So it will go. Possibly you'll need a jacket over the shoulder, particularly depending on the ceremony, and a gorgeous headpiece, and away you go.
The trousers are great.
Aren't they fabulous?
Let's talk about this. Speaking of headpieces, this is a stunning number.
Isn't this great? We're heading now to It's So Me. Again, it's a fabulous boutique in Cork and Douglas Shopping Centre in Cork. Now, this is a wrap dress that we're actually looking at the moment. As you see, it's the short style dress. What I love about wraps, and the next dress is going to be wrap as well, is that it's great particularly for people that are probably large busted, because it's very forgiving actually, because you're able to obviously place the dress to where you want to, but it works really, really well. If you
accentuates the waist as well.
It completely does, it absolutely does. There's lots of colours going on in this, so therefore there's lots of pieces you could choose to go with this. The fact you've got the oranges and the pink mix, it works really well as well.
OK, now can we do the hat?
Isn't the hat stunning? It's absolutely beautiful. The headpiece today is from Jennifer's Hat Emporium, online, or you can pop into Jennifer herself in Kildare, and it's beautiful. It's a percher piece, loads of swirls going on. We can even pick up on those pearls as well that are actually embedded in the main base, but it's beautiful.
And it's for hire as well, which is important. If it's just one big occasion, you might not need to buy it. You can just hire it for the day or the weekend, and away you go.
And it's a great idea, because not everyone wants to wear the same headpiece a second time, but this, I just think the colour is beautiful. It really does, to be fair, it complements the outfit big time as well.
We're going to get to the earrings in 1 second. Ina, can you turn around so that I can just see the back of the structure of that hat?
Isn't it stunning?
If we can get Anthony to go up there.
This particular piece is actually from an Irish milliner, and actually from my own place in Galway called Del Ramberg. It's a beautiful headpiece. It really is beautiful. The work is incredible, and the finish is incredible on that headpiece as well.
And the earrings?
We went with a little drop earring then, just to pick it all up with this, as you see, that beautiful little pink picking up as well, pink pearl. But it's lovely, isn't it? It's a lovely outfit, but it completely complements the outfit. That's why I love accessories. I think they're always a must.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, thank you so much for that one. Sarah's here with this gorgeous wrap dress.
Isn't she gorgeous? And Sarah we're staying with It's So Me boutique in Cork, and again, like that, seeing different colour choices on this with the bronze, the oranges, the lemons, and again, it's a wrap dress which anyone can wear, as we know. So it's just one of those pieces you can easily pull out time and time again. We do have it dressed up today, but easily you could wear something like this for lunch, pop on a pair of runners and completely make it more casual.
Yeah, you get a lot out of this dress.
You sure would.
It's a staple for the summer.
Isn't it? And again, like that, the colours are quite beautiful in it as well. Lemon actually seems to be a colour that's coming through a lot this season too. But it's a beautiful dress, a little float sleeve on it, and away you go.
And then you've almost toned it down with the hat this time, but still just as elegant and just as beautiful as the last.
It sure is. And again, the hat is from Jennifer's Hat and Pouring, but again, very simple, sits on the side of the head, and it's light, it's elegant, it's beautiful, and it just works. And again, as you say yourself, it's for hire as well, which is brilliant.
And the earring?
And then the earrings are from It's So Me, again, a beautiful drop earring as well. Again, keeping it quite simple and staple. When you're wearing headpieces, you do need to be very careful of the jewellery. I find myself, if I was going to an event and wearing a headpiece, I'd have jewellery matching the headpiece, but then when I'm taking it off, I might change the earring then for later on for the evening and change up the outfit a little bit. It's just a styling tip to give. There you go. Yeah, you kind of bring half the wardrobe with you for a change. I know you're looking at me as
you're like, let me just go back to the car in my bag and just whip Benson.
How many pairs of shoes did you bring on your honeymoon?
How many? How
many?
22.
22, and she went for 21 nights. Just remember that, okay? So, yeah, of course, she's got everything in the car. We've got Alicia back with this.
And we're back with Alicia. Isn't this just stunning? This is from the stables in Bourne. As I said, if you're around the Midlands, it's well worth popping into this beautiful shop. But isn't this just gorgeous?
This is a special dress.
There's no doubt about it. It's fantastic.
Is that a tweed material?
It is. It's actually a Buckley material, which is actually a mix of fabrics, is what it actually is. And it just sits perfectly. Mainly wool mixed with lots of other materials. It's beautiful,
so
isn't it?
Chanel, so stunning.
Now, what I will say about something like this, anyone can wear this regardless of your figure. Because the fact that it's an A-line drop, it's absolutely perfect for anyone that may be a little bit more hippier on the hips and bum and thigh area. This will work a treat on their figure.
It's really special.
It's classy, isn't it? It's elegant. It's beautiful. It needs, as you see, the little ribbon detail on the straps.
So lovely. Let's bring in the headpiece because you've tied in the ribbon to the ribbon at the back.
And the headpiece itself is also from the stables in Bar and for hire, but it's a hairband. And when she turns around, how fabulous is this?
Wow.
This is this season's trend of bows. We're seeing bows on everything, but I just love how clever this is on the back of the headpiece itself. Isn't it gorgeous?
Catching the bow in the top of the
just stunning.
tie. This is a great look.
And again, like that, I would give a styling tip. Do not go overboard with jewellery on this. It doesn't need it. We didn't actually put anything with this today, but you don't need a neck piece. You need nothing with this.
The headpiece does the
chocolate. It literally does.
Yeah.
It completely does. And you can keep it on all day as well.
And an oversized blazer over the shoulders.
It's stunning.
Oh, Mandy Maher, we said incredible. You did it.
Thank you so much.
Nailed it. She always does. Always
Thank you.
Nailed it. We're going to take a break and I'm going to touch that dress appropriately. But Tommy, what's coming up next?
Steady on, Warren. Steady. How nice is it? The sun's shining out there and those dresses were gorgeous. Now, coming up very shortly, Colin Baker is here with us for the must-have gadget to pack for your next holiday. Who needs it whenever you're going sunshine like that? Back here in a few. You're very welcome back with Holidays on the way. It's time to start thinking about what we need to bring with us before we jet off.
Technology expert Colin Baker joins us. River won't stop laughing.
Kathy's just made a swift arrival into the studio here.
Just for you.
What a beautiful surprise.
Well, you're going to showcase us some gadgets.
I thought I just had Tommy, but now I have you and I'm speechless.
You got the two of us. Right, where do we start?
Kick us off.
Well, look, we were talking about tags, air tags specifically, the idea of being able to track your devices or the things that you tend to lose anywhere in the world. And we're talking about travel. So that big thing is your luggage, if it does manage to disappear on you and go off to Chicago and you're going down to Kerry, whatever it might be.
Is it much use knowing it's in Chicago? Because...
Well, I suppose it must be.
I was saying because my sister was on the flight to LA and she lost her luggage. They didn't know where it was, and she was like, "My phone says it's in Chicago," and she got it.
And they were able to track it down.
So it is useful.
Yeah. So you can let the authorities and the people that matter know.
Yeah.
So this
it's
is
a great way.
alternative.
Like if you look at I don't know if the camera can see it there.
Is that a location?
That's the location of my backpack right now. So it really does work very, very well. And of course, what it also does is if I actually walk away from the backpack to more than 20 or 30 feet, say I leave it behind accidentally, it comes up as a message on my phone. And because it's built into Apple, the Find My system. It's really easy to set up and really easy to use.
This is a different brand because we hear of the Apple one tags. But
I think do you know what? The only difference here is Apple have actually opened up that technology now so other people can manufacture it. This is a company called Chipolo, and it's called the One Spot.
So it's just
it has the AirTag built in. Actually, I find it better because it's slightly more weatherproof. You were talking about it being waterproof for tracking the dog. But you can also, when you get close to it, so say it's in the room, you can set it on the app to make a loud chirruping sound. So that instead of just seeing where it is on the map, you can isolate it down to where it is.
So it is compatible. But speaking of Apple, we do have Apple AirPods in with us.
We were talking earlier about the idea of noise cancelling. Have you experienced that before? Do you have AirPods Pros?
No, I have AirPods, but not these ones. These are the fancy ones.
So it always gets me that people haven't... A lot of people don't know about this. Noise cancelling isn't just a refinement of what you're hearing. When you put these on and you listen to your music and you can hear everything around you with small headphones, as you do, one of the big fat ones, you turn on noise cancelling and it blocks out instantly all
while you're listening
noise.
To the music.
So obviously it's something you want to be careful of. Now, you don't do this when you're cycling down the road.
No, and they're really great when you are on a plane, but they are 300 quid, so they're hefty enough.
Enormous money.
So there are cheaper alternatives, but are they any good?
You know, I am a fan of trying to hack these things and take these big brand expensive devices and see if there's a cheaper variant that will do as much. And I did find, a friend of mine sent me these. These are the Fresh and Rebel ANC, so active noise cancelling. You've got the same idea where you've got a touch facility on both, so you can play, pause, skip to the next one, turn on and off the noise cancelling without going to the phone, with just tapping on the earpod itself.
Brilliant.
And it charges in the case here.
What's the sound quality like?
Do you know what? The sound quality is better than the AirPod Pros. No, it really is.
I've heard mixed opinions on the AirPod Pros, though, to be fair.
They're not €300 worth of sound quality.
Right.
They're €99.
And you're getting all the same quality.
So they're actually... they are at least that in terms of sound quality. So better sound quality, but you don't have... That tracking facility I talked about is built into the AirPod Pros. So if I lose those... And the reason I didn't mind spending on those was because if I lose those, even if I lose them separately, just the pods alone... The Find My system will find them wherever they go.
So if you want to track it, a good place to do it if you don't have your phone. A new computer. Why?
Look, I'm talking about this because most people need to bring, well, a lot of people who want to do a little bit of work from when they travel need a laptop with them. And they go around shopping for an inexpensive, small-size laptop. But what we're seeing in laptop repairs is a lot of those low-price, small machines are basically just tablets with keyboards. They're very low-powered. You can't really do business on it. This is a professional-grade laptop, so it's i5, Windows 10 Professional. It's a ThinkPad. It's actually a powerful, decent machine that'll do everything a desktop
I feel like any of the hybrid workers will recognise this one. I've seen this one a lot on the train.
They're very much a commercial machine.
Corporate.
But that's only €299.
Very good price point.
So really, it's kind of a nice hack in that it's cheaper, it's smaller, it's lighter, but it's still powerful.
Can I charge it with this power bank?
No, but you can charge your other devices with this power bank. What I particularly... Look, power banks are not just an ideal thing for travel, they're a must-have. Because your phone, if you're watching Netflix and the likes, is gone by lunchtime.
So
these are 10,000 milliamp hour power banks with a wireless charge base, so you can sit your phone on top of that without plugging straight in.
Fantastic.
But this is the really clever hack. All the cables you need for charging this, for charging your iPhone or Apple device, and for charging your Android, your other types of phones and tablets as well.
Excellent.
All
it's totally
built
universal.
right in. So it's totally universal. And you don't have to think about it, because the amount of times I had a previous one and lost the cable or didn't have it.
Can I ask now, because I have dibs on this one, Tommy, by the way. I said to him that I'm going to be queuing for a Beyonce concert. I'm going to need to charge the AirPods, the light and my phone. If I charge that overnight, how long will that do me?
It actually works. That's 10,000 milliamp hours. And what that means is it's going to charge up an iPhone about 4 times fully from zero. OK?
So
now you're typically not doing that. You're going 10 to 50%.
You two keep that conversation until later. Quickly.
OK.
Plug.
I call Swiss Army knife adapter. Wherever you're going in the world, from wherever, it's got every plug, every socket and multiple USB ports in the top there. So your USB-C and 3 standard USBs.
Fantastic.
So you can charge for your friends as well.
For 30
€29.
30 quid.
Great little hack.
And
solar-powered backpack. This is I do not leave this at home, and it's got an AirTag built into it as well. This is a waterproof solar panel built into the front. Wow. So that's actually charging while I travel, while I'm out there, while I'm walking around. Right now, it's charging a power pack inside, and so I don't need to plug in anywhere wherever I travel. It's all charging inside.
Wow.
Some of the smaller laptops it will. It's not
good.
quite powerful or big enough for some of the big ones.
But that's class. So you can walk around, have your phone charging
while you're going, while you're traveling,
that
while you're out
actually
in the
is very,
sun.
all with the power of sun. Colin Baker, thank you so much. If you want to find out more,
backfromthefuture.ie. Usual
back
story
from the future. Easy as that. Murren, what's coming up on tomorrow's show?
Going shopping with your wife for all of those things later on, Tommy, isn't that right? We'll be chatting to award-winning Belfast comedian Paddy Raff about touring with the legend that is Mickey Flanagan. We're learning about the health benefits of making a herbal honey infusion. Plus, on the catwalk, we're taking inspiration from Instagram. We will see you tomorrow on Virgin Media 1 from 7. Don't forget Inside the Hospice tonight at 9 p.m. on Virgin Media 1. Have a great day. Bye.